Good day, everyone, and welcome again to our contemporary Philippine arts from the region. And for today, we will discuss the contemporary literature. So let's define literature. Literature came from a Latin word litera, which means letter. So this is a body of literary productions, either oral, written, or visual. So this literature is most commonly refers to works of the creative imagination, and it includes poetry, drama, fiction, non-fiction, and in some instances, journalism and song. So we have the two major types of literature. Number one is prose. Prose came from the word prosa. It contains of written words within the common flow of conversation presented in a straightforward manner. So this prose is a written or spoken language in its ordinary form without metrical structure. So we have the different types of prose. First one is the novel. Novel is a true-to-life story in a long period of time and consists of many characters and different settings. So example is the Harry Potter, Twilight, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, and the Notebook of Nicholas Sparks. Number two is the short story. Short story examples are The Little Mermaid by Hans Christian Andersen and The Night Before Christmas by Clement Clark Moore. Number three is the plays. So plays is presented on stage and it is usually consisting mostly of dialogue between characters and intended for theatrical performance. So hindi lang siya for reading only but it is also have a drama, a musical play dito sa plays na ito. So example of plays are the Hamlet of William Shakespeare, The Three Rats by Guerrero, and others. So maraming plays ako na nabanggit before in our topic, the theatrical performances before. So you can search the different plays na pinapresent on stage including the artist beyond every play. Another one is legends. So legends provides historical infos regarding the culture, the views of particular group, the people or country. So halimbawa ng mga legends ay The Monkey and the Turtle, Why the Fish Has Scales, The Story of Pinya, Mother Mountain, The Necklace and the Comb, The Carabao and the Shell, The Man with the Coconuts. Next is the folk tales. So folk tales are stories that form part of the oral tradition in the Philippines. So in general, it also includes legends, fables, jokes, tall stories, and fairy tales. So, pwede siyang ipasok dito sa folk tales. Halimbawa na lang is The White Elephant, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, The Boy Who Became a Stone, The Hawk and the Hen. So, that is folk tales. And then, meron tayong fables. So, the fables is to enlighten the minds of the children to the different events that could encourage them to have a good behavior and attitude. Kumbaga, short story ito na tinuturuan tayo ng mga lesson or it conveys a moral lesson sa atin. So, ang mga characters nito ay mga animals. So, example is the frogs and the ox, Belling the cat, the town mouse, and the country mouse. So, those are the examples of fables. Okay, next is the myths. So, a myth is a traditional story without an author. So, that is usually intended to teach a lesson, to explain one of the many mysteries of life, ma-explain yung mga phenomenon of nature, to describe the customs, the institutions, or any religious rites of a people. So, halimbawa na lang sa myths are the Egyptian mythology, the Greek mythology, Mesopotamia mythology, Marduk, and the fall of Troy. So, mga myths yun sila. And then we have also this anecdote. Anecdote is a product of imagination and the main aim is to bring out lessons to the reader. So example is The Moth and the Lamp by Dr. Jose Rizal. Another one is essay. So essay focus on piece of writing that develops an argument or narrative based on the evidence, based on the analysis and interpretation. So, halimbawa na lang is the editorial page of a newspaper. So, yun yung best example ng essay. And then we have also this biography. It is about detailed description of a person's life. So, background mo sa education, sa work, relationships, and death. So, it portrays a person's experiences of this life event. So, dito papasok yung mga lahat na na-achieve, mga achievement in life mo, the lessons in life mo, saan ka pinanganak, your parents. So, complete detail dito sa biography. So, example na lang is the life and works of Dr. Jose Rizal. Okay, last one is the oration. So, oration is a formal treatment of a subject and is intended to be spoken in language. So, this appeals to the intellect or emotion of the audience. So, that is oration. Another type of literature is poetry. So, poetry is an imaginative awareness of experience expressed through meaning, sound, and rhythmic language choices as to evoke emotional response. So, it includes sound, it includes rhythm, meter, and symbolism. So, we have the types of poetry. First one is the narrative poetry. So, this narrative poetry describes the important events in life, either real or imaginary. So, under the narrative poetry, we have this epic. It is an extended narrative about heroic exploits under supernatural control. So, this epic is nothing or pertaining to a long poetic composition. So, usually, it is centered upon a hero in which a series of great achievements, ninanarrate siya kung ano yung mga naabot niya, the events behind that hero that is narrated in elevated style. So, we have the kinds of epic. The first is the popular or ancient epic. So, example na lang ng popular or ancient epic is the Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, the Virgil's Aeneid, Ovid's Metamorphoses, and Apollonius of Rhodes' Agononitica. So, those are the examples of popular or ancient epic. In modern epic, halimbawa nito is Biag ni Lamang, which is about the Ilocano warrior. Okay? Another kind of narrative poetry is the metrical tale. So this is a narrative which is written in verse and can be classified either as ballad or metrical romance. So a metrical tale is a long and straightforward story. It consists of a series of related events and it is not necessarily have to form a plot. So halimbawa nitong sa metrical tales is the home tales and love stories. So ito yung best example nitong metrical tales. So it involves stories of supernatural phenomena or tales that is bearing a high level of moral tenacity. So they are composed in reverse and they are usually the length of a short story. Another one is ballad. So a ballad is a poem that tells a story. So usually nasa 4-line stanza siya na tinatawag na quatrain. So the ballad form is enormously diverse and the poems in this form may have any one of 100 of different rhyme schemes and meters. So halimbawa na lang dito is the ballad by Samuel Taylor, Coleridge Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. Okay, another type of poetry is the lyric poetry. So this refers to the kind of poetry meant to be sung, accompaniment by lyre, but now this applied to a type of poetry that expresses emotional and feeling of the poet. So it is a lyric poem or lyrical poem in literature. So the poet also presents a character in the first person para ma-express yung emotion. So mayroon siyang combination ng lyric and poetry na kung saan yung piece ng poetry is written as a lyric. And this lyric has been derived from lyre, a musical string instrument used during the Grecian period para ma-accompany yung poetry na poetry sung during the different festivals. Okay. So, we have the types of lyric poetry. Number 1 is folk songs. So, these are short poems intended to be sung. So, yung common theme is dito sa folk songs is love, despair, grief, doubt, joy, hope, and sorrow. And then another one is sonnet. So this is a lyric poem of 14 lines dealing with an emotion, a feeling, or an idea. So the word sonnet is derived from the Italian word sonetto, so which means a little song or small lyric. So in poetry, a sonnet has 14 lines and is written in iambic pentameter. So each line has 10 syllables and it has a specific rhyme scheme and a volta or a specific turn. So sonnets can be categorized into 6 major types. Meron tayong Italian sonnet, Shakespearean sonnet, Spencerian sonnet, Miltonic sonnet, terza rima sonnet, and quartile sonnet. So yun yung 6 na major types ng sonnet. Next is the elegy. So this is a lyric poem which expresses feelings of grief and the theme is death. So it is about the song of mourning. So yung speech at a funeral is eulogy. So you might later compose an elegy to someone you have loved and lost to the grave. So the purpose of this kind of poem is to express feelings rather than to tell a story. So that is elegy. Next is ode. So ode is a literary technique that is lyrical in nature but not very lengthy. So you have often read odes in which poets praise people, natural scenes, and abstract ideas. So ode is derived from a Greek word aiden, which means to chant or sing. So it is highly solemn and serious in its tone and subject matter. And usually, it is used with elaborate patterns of stanzas and yung tono dito is often formal. Another one is the psalm. So this is a song of praise to God and containing a philosophy and life. So Psalms is the book of the Old Testament composed of sacred songs or a sacred poems meant to be sung. So yung Psalms is an expression of faith from joyous celebration to solemn hymns and bitter protest. So they are sometimes classified according to the form or type. So yung major forms nito is the hymn, the lament, the song of confidence, and the song of thanksgiving. So they may also be classified according to the subject matter. So thus a number of psalms have been called royal psalms because they feature the king, portraying him as both the representative of Yahweh to the community and the representative of the community to Yahweh. So that is psalm. Next is awit. So example nito is the Florante at Laura by Francisco Balagtas. Another is corridos. These have measure of 8 syllables and recited to a martial beat. So corridos is about oppressions, history, the daily life for criminals, and other important information. So halimbawa na lang dito is the Ibong Adarna. So that is corridos. Another type of literature is the dramatic poetry. So this is an emotional piece of literature which includes a story which is recited or sung. So in dramatic poetry, it has also a dramatic monologue as the main form of poetry. So we have the types of dramatic poetry. First one is the comedy. So comedy is from the word komos, meaning festivity or revelry. So comedy is a form usually in a slight or purpose of amusing at mayroong happy ending. So talagang may happy ending. So laughing yung mafe-feel mo na emotion dito. And then another is the melodrama. So this is usually seen in musical play with the opera. So melodrama is a story or play in which there are a lot of exciting or sad events and in which people's emotions are very exaggerated. So yung example ng melodrama is yung soap opera. So a person who is constantly breaking up and getting back together with her boyfriend in emotional scene, ito yung example din ng melodrama which is na-enjoy nating panoorin. And then we have this tragedy. So in tragedy, this involves the hero struggling mightily against dynamic forces. So in tragedy, it is a genre of story in which a hero is brought down by his or her own flaws. So usually, yung mga ordinary human flaws lang din naman. So flaws like greed, over-ambition, or even an excess of love, honor, or loyalty. So in any tragedy, we start with the tragic hero usually in his prime. So the hero is successful, mga respected, happy. But he has some tragic flaw that will ultimately cause his downfall. So ito yung hihila sa kanya pababa. And it is usually the plot of the story follows a gradual descent from a greatness to destruction. And especially, it is important that the hero end up isolated from all of his friends and companions. So, kung sa huli, we feel deep sadness, we feel pity, for the hero kasi nahila siya pababa. But we also feel a sense of understanding. The story warns us to guard against the ordinary flaws that brought down the hero. So baga may lesson din naman tayong makukuha sa mga ganitong kwento. And then we have this farce. So farce is an exaggerated comedy, and it is a literary genre and type of comedy that makes use of highly exaggerated and funny situations that aimed to entertain the audience. So farce is also a subcategory of dramatic comedy, which is different from other forms of comedy as it only aims in making the audience laugh. So patawanin at patawanin lang yung audience. So yun ang yung aim ng farce. So ginagamitan ito ng elements just like mga physical humor, deliberate absurdity, the body jokes, drunkenness, or kahit anumang pakulo nila just to make sure na mabibigyan nila ng happiness yung mga audience nila. So, example na lang dito is The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde, The Taming of the Shrew by William Shakespeare. So, you can research yung mga anong klaseng poetry itong isinulat ng mga authors na ito. And then last one, we have the social poem. So, this form is either purely comic or tragic, and it pictures the life of today. So, this poetry is performing a social function or contains a level of social commentary. So, halimbawa dito is Saturday Night in Relegation by Mark O'Brien. So, marami pa yung example yung social forms. So, that's all for this topic in literature. So, I put some national artists dyan sa module ninyo. So, kindly research na lang ng mga backgrounds, biography ng mga national artists na yan. And then, try to read, try to write the important information. Dagdagan lang natin yung information natin na nalagay sa module. And then, have your self-study about the different artists. So that's all for literature. I hope you learned from this lesson, and thank you so much, and God bless you always.